About the country politically as we speak today. By the way, I was meant to ask you, there are so many things that happened at the Africa Forward Summit.
Yes.
It was very controversial, by the way.
Yeah.
I never got the opportunity to ask you what you think about it. There was also the cancelling culture that followed it when several artists appeared for the Sundowner after the event. I don't know, what did you think? Odhiambo was very proud that the president of the country, pulled such a huge feat.
I think it is one of the best executed international events that we've actually hosted as a country.
Okay.
Because you would be able to look at the seamless flow of things from one event to the other. I think that was quite seamless. Despite the reality that we had about 30 heads of state in Nairobi, you did not see screaming traffic congestion. Yeah, so from the perspective of the people handling our traffic, our security infrastructure, I anticipated that there will be snarl-ups and there will be a big problem in Nairobi, but they really tried to handle it. I was stuck in traffic, I think, on one of those days myself for quite some time, but not to the significant levels that I had actually imagined. So in terms of its execution, I think it was quite seamless. I also like the breakout sessions that they had. First of all, the business forum. I think having over 4,000 notable businessmen from around the world sitting in Kenya, and good choice of the University of Nairobi, was also quite a plus for me.
The University of Nairobi, do you think this is where the plant for manufacturing smartphones is located? I mean, that was a bit... People are telling the president that you lied. I mean, could you have been saying something else that is not really manufacturing per se?
I think...
Assembly.
I think the choice, if we talk about the choice of the venue, for me, I'm not one of those guys who went to University of Nairobi, but the truth is that it's one of our premier universities here. And so putting together the business people who want to discuss such levels of such magnanimous stuff at the university grounds, for me was quite a good symbol. And then when I look at also the aspect of the entertainment that came with the Kasarani indoor arena, I think the choice of artists, a cross-section of artists from across Africa, and the president, and look at the audience, it was quite a composition of a mixture. I saw very ordinary Kenyans in that audience. It was not elitist. I don't know whether if you checked it very well. It was not elitist. It was both the old, the young. I think that was quite something. Of course, part of me liked the controversy around President Macron when he told us to to get to listen, to shut up.
What do you think about that? Because I'm going to indulge you a little bit more before we,
At the risk of unpopularity, I'll say I didn't really find a big problem with it for one reason. We in Kenya sometimes have over-democratized ourselves, that sometimes even when we want to do the wrong thing, we want to look at it from political lens and want to excuse it. Because not once, Jagero, in Kenyan meetings, especially political meetings, nowadays we have the culture of just making noise and people speaking until even our leaders are used to us speaking as they continue speaking. So they don't even stop. They just keep speaking. So sometimes the level, it's just good for us to be cultured. Some of the people who don't live here with us, they don't really live in countries where people live where there is a bit of decorum in places. So for me, it was just a wake-up call to us to say, you know what, guys, we can have some decorum. That sometimes when we are attending a meeting, you can be able to listen to the ones who are speaking. It is just the basic dictate of decorum. There is nothing about colonialism in that, because I saw that being propelled and that. I think it's just a matter of discipline. That sometimes let's just learn to listen to each other.
I think I did not have a problem at all with what Macron said, because it was disrespect, first of all, to the people that were on stage.
Exactly.
And he desperately wanted to hear. Part of the reason why he was so frustrated was that he couldn't hear because of this other noise.
Exactly.
And he was sympathizing with the people on stage because, I mean, these people, some of them were actually West Africans that are fluent in the country.
It's just a discipline issue. There is one of your colleagues who hosts a podcast that Odhiambo is fond of going to. And sometimes you can see the host getting agitated and stopping it midway and telling his producer, go down there and tell those guys not to make noise outside there. How don't we call that colonialism or something? I think that is Obina.
Yes, you've seen him.
Something interesting. Obina did something very interesting in the studio today.
Oh, what did he do?
At at some point, Bina was concerned about one of the cameras. You understand? And Bina couldn't hold it anymore and said, get out of TikTok and look at the camera, bro.
And you see, that is just discipline.
Yeah.
And I've always seen people bash him when he says that to his people, and he says, please get back to your work and all that. And some people say that's condescending and all that. But the reality is that sometimes we just have to be disciplined. So we can't be able to democratize and pull ourselves so highly and so stretch ourselves so much that everything goes. So at the end of the day, we are supposed to, you speak here, the other one also speaks. So at the end of the day, we should be having this podcast, and all the producers here should also be having a conversation so that then that becomes democracy. I don't think so.
But then there is the other issue of controversy that a lot of a large section of Kenyans did not want people to go, some artists like BN to go and sing where Macron is and President Ruto is.
Extremely unnecessary and entitlement. That's an unnecessary entitlement, Jagero. We must be able to allow people advance their trade. Those are artists, they are musicians. They perform where they are called to perform. And remember, they are being also paid at it. These people need to feed their families, Jagero.
Yes.
We can't be able to say people must only do things that we want them to do. Remember, just because you are loud does not mean you represent the opinion of the majority. So sometimes the people who are loud on social media make it look like they represent the opinion of the majority, because we haven't had the number of people who also would say, but we wanted him to perform. When he was performing on that stage, when BN was performing on that stage, Jagero, I saw people cheering. I saw people excited at his performance, meaning he actually did an exemplary performance. So the entitlement that we are starting to have actually is riding us away from the rails of democracy. Because democracy is what allows us to have every opinion and allow everyone to associate the way they would want to do. Unfortunately for us today, Jagero, we are having a situation whereby people think democracy means you must agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, I must cancel you. Then that's now the cancel culture. That is actually not democracy. The people doing that must know that they are taking us back to the old days. These are the things that Raila and others fought for us to have today, that all of us can actually have an opinion. So when you disagree with someone else, you just put up your opinion. If you think the other opinion does not make sense, you increase the sense of your opinion. You don't cancel the other person. Unfortunately, Jagero, nowadays, when you say something and I say another thing, and you make more sense than I do, then I cancel you, or I brand you. I look for a tag and put it on you and label you, instead of just raising the volume of my reason. Because if I am convinced that what I'm saying makes better sense, I just increase the volume of my reason. And if I'm still not convinced by yours, I must allow you have your opinion. We can't have a culture, Jagero, whereby people think that when I say A and you say B and I do not agree with B, then I cancel you. And then that means you are a wrong person. Not at all. It's a bad culture, and I would want to call it out as that.
Right. Odhiambo,
yes.
How are you doing? What is the political temperature of the